Today we've got a few minutes with Daniel Carney, who's principal of Goodlife Advice and financial advisor. Thanks for joining us, Daniel. Really, the hot question that we're hoping to get answered today is what's happening. In March, we got your views and some of your peers in this general field of investment about these law changes. What are you seeing with new builds? Are people waiting? Should they wait? Do they need to get onto it? What are your comments around that?
There was some initial, let's wait and see what happens by October the 1st. That, I think, for a lot of people got pretty tired pretty quickly, and they were back in very soon afterwards. So we had a few wanted to hold off, but those ones have got back in, and we actually haven't heard that since. I think, like anything, when we see these changes happen, there's this initial, for want of a better term, freak out mode, and then it's just business as usual. And it's pretty obvious to most people out there that new build properties are the way to go. They're exempt. That's more than likely not going to change. And I have to say, after a little, very short shock, it's been all guns blazing ever since.
Right. Okay. So that's good. Now, the things I've read in like the Herald website are, South Auckland new build development sells out in minutes. So that's what sort of the average person is facing. So how on earth do you find these things? Is that something that does Goodlife help with that?
Yeah, we're quite lucky in that respect. We've got some very long-term, years in the making relationships with some of the big brands, well-known builders around New Zealand. It's not rocket science. If you think about it, a lot of these guys are dealing with people after people after people after inquiry after inquiry after inquiry. Some of them are, again, for want of a better term, tire kickers. Some of them can't actually get finance, and there's many weeks and days that go by, lots of legal bills paid, and then it falls over. So we rock up with a client who's been through quite the process with us. They've understood that they need to plan for their retirement. They've had a session with me for a good couple of hours of me blabbing at them about a property and other things. And so there's, they understand what place property plays in that whole journey. Then we get them pre-approved. Then we introduce them to an opportunity. And obviously that opportunity has to fit their financial situation, their goals, etc. But if you're a builder and we rock up with Joe and Jane blogs that have gone through that entire process, it's not rocket science to understand that is a gold opportunity for a builder, and we've done most of the work for them. So we often get things that aren't even presented to the public. We're able to shunt our clients to the front of the queue. And look, I don't want to paint it that there's stock, never-ending stock out there. It is a challenge. Things are going very fast, and we have to stay plugged in all the time to find out what's coming up. But nonetheless, we're able to get our clients to the front of the queue and get them in front of good opportunities that a lot of people wouldn't even know about, because we simply have those long-term relationships with these providers.
Okay, that's good, because often that's the thing, is it finding the place over the years. That's what we've heard a lot. So really, yeah, you can DIY, but it's going to be perhaps quite an arduous task. And most people are busy and just don't have the time. So it sounds like the red carpet route is just talk to someone like yourselves, and that's kind of the low stress route as well.
Yeah, I mean, I presented to some new clients just this week, and they said they've been to open homes and multi-offers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I just said, we do not want you to have to deal with that. Get on with your life. Let us deal with it at the front end. And we're not the only ones that are involved in that front end search and analysis. There's, people like yourself, there's lawyers, there's property managers, there's the builder, there's us doing the analysis and the introductions. And we just, they don't have to be bothered with that whole competition that's out there. And there is a lot of it. As I say, we're constantly plugged in. We're having to know what's coming, and we're always, part of my job every single day is finding out what is on the horizon, what can we match our clients up with, and that's an ongoing pipeline role that we have to take with our clients that are coming through.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Now, I know that just recently You had a chat with the Mortgage Lab, and so shout out, by the way, that's something on you'll find on all the social media channels. Well, worth watching an extended chat with Daniel and with Rupert Goff from Mortgage Lab. But question, I guess, thinking about from the tax stuff, what's the weirdest tax questions or things you've heard recently? Because you must hear some strange stuff.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, we were forwarded an email from one of the big international brand public accounting firms. A client of ours who uses that firm had raised the fact that they'd like to buy an investment property, and we had two blatantly misleading pieces of information in there, and they shall remain nameless. But we see this all the time, unfortunately, just wrong information, wrong advice. That's why we point our clients to people like you. We say accountants are like doctors. You've got GPs and specialists. You don't want your GP performing heart surgery. And for good reason. Well-known brands, big international public accounting firms saying two blatantly wrong pieces of information, i.e. that around new builds not being exempt for the tax deductions on the interest payments, and that it's a 10-year bright line. We know very well that's more than likely 5 years. So just again, I don't know who this person was within that company, but misleading information. So we unfortunately see that quite often. Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's quite a head scratcher. I guess last question is then. So it seems, look, new builds are a thing. They're a going thing. People are getting into them. So there's no reason to hold back there. We've had some good clarification come out. And when someone's coming to see you, I guess the things that's going to help streamline this process are that they've got their information, right? That I mean, obviously, Goodlife's going to guide them through that, but getting the information so you can get it to the bank, etc. Is that something that slows things down, in the process? If people are just mucking around and not getting to you?
So you're referring to putting together an application for the bank, do you mean?
Yeah. I guess my question is, what's the one thing that people can do that's going to just streamline this process when they're dealing with Goodlife? Because the goal is, look, let's get into this property. The sooner the better. The sooner that's starting to chug through, etc., and the capital value is growing. But what's the one thing that can speed that up when they're dealing with financial advisors and so forth?
Yeah, that's actually a good question, because the banks are rammed at the moment, and it's taking a while to get an answer out of them. So the quicker we can get that information to them, packaged up in a format that they want to see, which again is an art form, which I hope we're good at. So at the front end, the very first meeting we have, we actually provide a checklist of that kind of information. It's not the only reason we're asking for that information, but it is all used for us to put together a pre-approval application. So if clients can start getting that stuff together by the time they meet us, that's ready to be uploaded into our online portal. That makes it very easy and quick process. And then we can blast that off to a lender to spit out a pre-approval as quickly as we possibly can. Because yeah, I mean, that is one question I get probably more than any other question, is how long is this going to take? Well, really, you, the client, is one of the most key components in that. The quicker you can get us the information we need, the quicker we can get it submitted. And we don't submit it piecemeal. We put it all together, package it up well, then submit it. So as I say, when we first meet clients, we give them a checklist. If they can put that stuff together, we upload that through our online portal. We can get that to the banks and get an answer out of them quick, smart.
Nice. Okay, that's interesting, because really it's the same thing with annual taxes. The one thing that holds things up is information coming in like cows going to the milking shed, just slowly walk in, and then there's a few latecomers, and finally you've got the information. So in other words, we can do ourselves a favor and be organized. And I guess, look, if it takes us a couple of hours to get everything together, but in the big process, it helps us get an asset that could give us $500,000 when it's realized, it's probably the best couple of hours we ever spend, right?
Oh, I totally agree. And I'm not sure if that was a little dig, because I got an email from one of your colleagues today to tell me to get my stuff together. but you're right.
Yeah.
yeah, the more organized we are, the easier that becomes. But you're right. If a couple of hours of work for that amount of gain is totally worth it. And we use the analogy of, an airplane when it's first taking off, the most amount of pressure on that is when it's taking off, right? So at the front end, yeah, there's a little bit of stuff to do, but once that thing's flying, it's plain sailing. So we'd say that to our clients, just get that stuff done, and then we're going to be plain sailing later on.
Great. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Well, thank you for your time today, and we really appreciate those. Just an update on where things are at, and as things develop over the coming months, we look forward to getting your thoughts again.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I have to say, new builds for us is an obvious way to go. They're exempt. The tax advantages are still there, so we're all guns blazing.
Full steam ahead. Great. Thanks very much, Daniel.
Thank you very much.